All right, what's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Wildcard Podcast. I'm your host, Steven Wildcard, and we are going to be talking about three different topics. I'm going to get into each one, and I'll tell you guys my take on those topics, and I would love to hear your guys' takes on those topics in the comments. So feel free to leave a comment, like the video, that always helps, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. So, in this episode, we're going to go over the most important NFL position other than quarterback. So that's been a big debate. Who do you draft? What's the most important? Obviously, quarterback. But on the offensive side, what's the most important position besides QB? But on the defensive side, what is the most important position? We're going to talk about that. Another thing we're going to talk about in this episode, the most overrated and underrated NBA teams after the All-Star break. I'm going to give you my take on who's overrated, who's underrated going into the second half of the NBA season. And then also, I'm having a new little segment. We're doing a new little segment here called the Face Palm Take. And that is one of those things where you do this when I see a take online, someone posts a meme, someone posts something sports related, that it just blows my mind that they have this take, and you guys are going to get your mind blown that people are actually thinking this. It's NBA related. And I'll get into that, but that will be later on in the episode, and I would love to hear your guys' take on it. So let's just start this episode out. Most important position in the NFL besides quarterback, and we're not talking coaching either, because head coach is obviously a very important position. But let's just start on the offensive side. Well, we could even debate what's more important, offense or defense. Defense wins championships, they say, but that's not always true. Sometimes very powerful offenses can just outduel the other offense and win a Super Bowl. But defense for sure helps, don't get me wrong. So, in my opinion, on the offensive side, I don't even think it's offensive linemen. Yes, that's very important. You need a great O-line, and if you do have a great O-line, you will succeed. But you need a bunch of guys being on the same page that are great offensive linemen. But if you had to just pick one position, or maybe two, I'll give you my two in this take. Tight end is a very important position in the NFL. If you have a great tight end, you could succeed very well, because not only hopefully they can catch and get yards after catch, score touchdowns, but the big thing about a tight end, they need to be able to block. If a tight end can block, you are going to do very well on offense, because that is a big thing for a tight end. Not only catch the ball, but they got to block. And just like Kittle, Kelsey, Hawkinson, a lot of tight ends these days are about blocking and not only catching the ball, but yards after the catch and staying in bounds, getting those yards that you need, those extra yards, not just catching the ball and falling down, not just catching the ball and going out of bounds, but those yards after catch are important. If I had to give it my second most important position on offense is running back. It's not receiver, it's running back. Because again, not only you need to be a good runner, you need to be a great and a very good blocker. If you could block as a running back, that helps the QB so much. It makes the offense run a lot better. And exactly, you'll just be scoring a lot more points at the end of the day. You'll make your quarterback more at ease if you could block as a running back. So in my opinion, the most important position on offense, if I just had to choose one, I'll go tight end. We're not talking QB, but I'll go tight end. Second would be running back, in my opinion. I want to hear your guys' take. What's the most important position in the NFL on offense besides quarterback? Let me know in the comments. When we move on to defense, the most important position in my mind are the D linemen, because they are putting the pressure on the QB. It doesn't matter how good your DBs are, your linebackers, whatever. As long as you're putting pressure on the QB, you're making that QB scramble, you're making that QB make bad decisions and throw the ball where they don't really want to throw it, or maybe they get their arm hit, or maybe they actually get hit while they're throwing it. It gives your linebackers cornerbacks, safeties, a lot better chance to pick that ball off. So I got to go D lineman on that. Obviously, on the right side, left side, middle, doesn't matter. But as long as you have at least like 2 to 3 solid D linemen, your life will be a lot easier on defense. And then if I had to choose a second most important position in the NFL on defense, would be linebacker. I mean, linebackers do it all. They rush the QB. They stop the run. They cover receivers. They cover tight ends. They do a lot. They control the offense. They run the offense. They control the defense and they run the defense. So linebacker is really high up there. And if you have a top 10 linebacker on your team, you are going to be doing well on defense because, like I said, they run the defense. They keep things going. They hype up your team. When you see a linebacker make a crazy tackle, when they hit someone hard, that pumps up everyone around them, especially the fans, but especially your defense too. So if I had to pick my number one most important position on defense, I'm going to have to just go with linebacker first. That will be mine. If I had to choose a second, definitely the D lineman and the edge rushers, of course. So what do you guys think? Post your guys' most important position on defense. Let me know in the comments. That's topic number one. Want to talk about that because a lot of people have been talking online. What's the most important? Because we got the draft coming up. What's the most important position besides QB? What's the most important thing to draft or position the draft? So that's my take on that. All right, moving on to topic number 2. We just had All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend. Probably one of the most boring All-Star weekends ever. But I say that every year. It's pretty boring every year. I don't like the All-Star Weekend for the NBA. It's just pointless in my opinion. The players don't even try. We had like almost 400 total points in the All-Star game. Maybe we had 400. I don't even know what the total was, but it was very high. So I'm going to go over my most overrated NBA teams going into the second half of the season. And I'm only going to pick 2 here, and they're in the West. So right now, I got to go overrated Clippers. I know they're playing very well. They're in third place in the West, so that's very good for them. They're only a half game behind Thunder for second. They're only 2 games back from first from the Timberwolves. But at the end of the day, can you trust the Clippers to stay healthy? Will Kawhi stay healthy? Will Harden stay healthy? Will Paul George stay healthy the second half of the season? That is the number one thing. I can't trust it. We can't trust it. And it's the Clippers at the end of the day. The Clippers get a lot of hate. Me personally, though, I'll be cheering for the Clippers when they're in the playoffs. I want them to do well because, they've definitely had a lot of hype going into playoffs in the past and disappointed time after time. I would love for them to do good, but right now they are overrated. I've already been hearing people say that the Clippers will go to the finals. Sure, right now it looks like they have the talent and they're playing well enough to go to the finals, but I don't think we could trust those top 3 players I listed, Paul George, Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. I don't think they're going to stay healthy throughout the playoffs. I don't know. Fingers crossed. We'll see. But what do you guys think? My second overrated team, and this one, I don't fully believe it long term. Definitely not. But overrated right now are the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're very good. They're very young. That's where right now I can't trust the Thunder. They're very young. Timberwolves are young too, but the Thunder are younger, but they're only going to get better. So long term, Thunder are going to be sitting pretty. They got so many picks in the draft. They got young up and coming players, and I think they'll be fine going into the future. But this season, a second place team in the Thunder, I just can't trust them in the playoffs. They're going to be great during the regular season because they're young, they're athletic, they got that stamina. But when they go to the playoffs and face experienced teams, I think that's where they're going to have trouble. SGA can't carry the whole Thunder team. I know they got a good amount of role players on that team. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to experience and how well they can keep that up into the playoffs. I think they're going to do well in the second half of the season. Like I said, they're young, rested, their stamina's high, but I don't see that lasting. Going into playoffs in 7-game series, more experienced teams can beat the Thunder, like the Phoenix Suns, like the Denver Nuggets, even the Lakers could probably beat the Thunder in a 7-game series, only if the Lakers stay healthy. That's one thing. But I even think the Warriors can beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. So those are my overrated teams, the Clippers and the Thunder. I want to hear your guys' overrated NBA teams right now, so post those in the comments. Would love to hear it. Let's go with underrated. I only have 2 for you here. Most underrated teams heading into the second half of the NBA season. Right now for me, I'm going for the Miami Heat. We can't discount the Miami Heat. I know in the standings they don't look great. They're in 7th. It's not horrible. They could be in 6th. They could be in 8th. There's like a 1 or a half game gap in those spots. But the Miami Heat were an 8th seed last year and made it to the NBA Finals. So never discount the Heat. I don't hear anyone saying that the Heat are going to make the finals. Everyone's on the Celtics. Everyone's on the Bucks. People are even talking about the Cavs or the Knicks. Not the Sixers anymore because of the Embiid injury. But I do think the Heat are underrated. Watch out for them. They kind of like do that thing all season where they fly under the radar. No one really talks too much about the Heat. But they got Spoelstra. They got Jimmy Buckets at the end of the day. And I just don't discount the Heat. They're going to get hopefully they're going to get a play-in spot, but maybe they'll sneak into that 6th, 5th seed in the playoffs and not worry about the play-in tournament. So Miami Heat, one of my underrated teams. My next underrated team on the West, it's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. They're a really good team when they're clicking, and I'm sure you could say that with a lot of teams, but man, I'm a Kings fan. I've watched the Pelicans play the Kings time after time. They whoop us every single time we've played this season. Pelicans are a strong team. They're in the 6th spot right now. I think they could beat the Suns in a 7-game series. I think they could even beat the Clippers in a 7-game series. Even the Thunder or the T-Wolves. They have a shot at beating all these teams in a 7-game series. They're underrated right now. People aren't saying they're going to make it to the finals, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the second or the semi quarters or the semis going into the NBA playoffs. I would not be surprised at all if the Pelicans can make it that far. They're in the 6th seed. They're pretty much tied for 5th or 6th right now with the Suns. They could drop into the play-in tournament, but I really do think the Pelicans can make it far in the NBA playoffs. Let me know who your guys' underrated NBA teams are going into the second half of the NBA season. I just wanted to talk about that. So the last topic I wanted to talk about, we call it the facepalm take. This is where you kind of just shake your head and do this when you see this online. They try to get a reaction out of you, and it's getting a reaction out of me. They're ridiculous takes, but people truly believe these takes. So I want to hear your guys' opinion on this. I'm going to post the picture right here so you guys can see it. Here it is, and I'm going to read it for you. LeBron and Anthony Davis would easily destroy Kobe and Shaq. Now, how crazy is that take? The fact that they said easily destroy is crazy. And I'm sure the younger generation is probably having this take. But if you guys watch Kobe and Shaq, especially their heyday playing together, they dominated teams. Dominated. Where teams had no chance. LeBron and AD do not dominate teams. They play well together. They beat teams, but they don't dominate. I bet you if you would have asked Anthony Davis, if you would have showed him this meme or whatever and said, would you be able to take on Shaq? I bet you AD himself would be like, no. I mean, Shaq's stronger than me. He will, outpower me to the rim all day. He'll out-rebound me. Shaq's just a stronger person. Sure, AD can shoot the jumper outside, shoot threes. That's where he would beat Shaq. And then we go to LeBron. I know LeBron's on another level. He's a top 5 all-time player. But Kobe has that dog, Kobe had that dog in him that LeBron kind of has, but didn't have it all the way like Kobe had it. One-on-one, I'll take Kobe all day. Sure, maybe, LeBron James is bigger than Kobe, so maybe you'd power him driving in on Kobe. That's about it. But Kobe's going to outsmart LeBron. He's going to, he could shoot the fade better than LeBron. He could shoot threes better than LeBron. He has a better jumper overall better than LeBron. You can't trust LeBron's jumper. You can't trust LeBron's 3-point shooting right now. So the fact that they say LeBron and AD would easily destroy Kobe and Shaq is the craziest facepalm take I've ever seen when it comes to NBA. What do you guys think about this take? Do you think this is actually something that is legit, that they can beat Kobe and Shaq? Please let me know in the comments. Am I crazy or what? I know it's probably a newer generation thinking this compared to the older generation, but come on. How you got to just watch highlights to see how dominant Kobe and Shaq were. Oh man, that one just like made me like double take and be like, you guys got to be kidding me. But if you read the comments, this was posted on Fake Sports. It's called Fake Sports Center, by the way. It's an account, but these people have these legit takes. But if you read the comments, everyone was lighting this meme up, like saying how ridiculous it was. But there were comments saying that it would happen. AD and LeBron would beat Kobe and Shaq. So I don't know. You guys post your takes, debate it in the comments. I want to hear it. And that's all from me in this podcast today. Those are the 3 topics. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys watching another episode here. Stay tuned every week. And just stay tuned for more episodes breaking down like NBA coming up this season. We're breaking it down. Who could win a championship? I'm going to make an episode later in the week about that. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.